The US-based Silicon Valley Bank was known for funding technology startups around the world, and its meltdown has left tech entrepreneurs worried. Even several Indian startups are affected by this crisis. We get you more details in our next story.
Over the weekend, 2 banks failed.
You know, it's just scary for the world, I guess, but I anticipate there'll be a lot of moving money into the bigger banks.
Are you worried, sir?
Everyone should be worried.
The collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, America's 16th largest commercial bank, has rattled the technology industry. The dramatic failure of the bank, which focuses on startups, is the biggest since the 2008 financial crisis. Note that Silicon Valley Bank dealt with high-growth and high-risk businesses such as technology startups. Therefore, it was a popular bank among tech startups. The event has left a host of global technology startups in a tight spot, including the ones in India. Let's understand how Silicon Valley Bank's demise has affected the Indian startups. India has one of the world's biggest startup markets. Many startups are clocking multi-billion-dollar valuations. They are getting the backing of foreign investors who have made bold bets on digital and other tech businesses. What's important to note here is that Silicon Valley Bank was the preferred place for many Indian startups to park their funds. It's common that many Indian startups choose to be incorporated in the United States. This makes it easier for them to access capital from global venture capital firms. And now SVB's failure is unsettling Indian entrepreneurs. For many early-stage startups, their SVB accounts are holding the investment raised by them. India's State Minister for Technology, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, says Indian startups have deposits worth about $1 billion with embattled Silicon Valley Bank. The collapse of Silicon Valley Bank has also put the focus on Y Combinator-backed Indian startups. Y Combinator is a US-based technology startup accelerator. It has invested in thousands of startups. 200 of them are Indian. They are feeling the heat of the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. They have a reason to worry about the availability of liquidity for their immediate needs. VCs are cautious about divulging the names of the impacted startups. They fear that it might impede the young firm's prospects of raising capital in the future. There is more. Some Indian firms couldn't timely pull their deposits from Silicon Valley Bank because they didn't have another US bank account readily available to hold that capital.
Most people assume, I think, that if they put money into a bank, that money is going to be there, especially for a business. I mean, as depositors, you know, there should be better mechanisms to ensure that our deposits are safe. And to be clear, like, I'm not an expert in this field, but it just seems like this is not a great way to do. Like, having to divide your money among 4 or 5 banks just so it doesn't disappear one day, it's crazy. I mean, how do you, like, that should not be something we have to think about. Like, there should be better ways.
The fallout of SVB's collapse could be far-reaching. Some startups have only limited money in their Indian bank accounts. They could only run operations for 2 to 3 months with that money. As a result, they might find it hard to pay their employees in the coming months. Venture capital firms may not be able to raise funds, which means a lot of venture capital investment coming into India would also slow down. Lending to startups would get severely restricted. As a result, they will have to delay processes, downsize, or shut down. The entire episode could force startups to adopt severe cost-cutting measures, such as job cuts or hiring freezes. We will continue to track how the situation unfolds in the coming weeks, but there is a pertinent question that we need to ask. Is the Silicon Valley Bank collapse a wake-up call for startups to domicile in India?